When I first moved to this house, it was all overgrown lilac bushes and Rose of Sharon bushes. Let's take a quick tour of my garden. Back there, let me see if I can get the camera back there. I have a flower garden, a perennial flower garden. I have all my veggies in this area, the whole way down to here. And as you can see, I have a little fence around my veggies, trying to keep the dog and other critters out, although most critters can just climb up and over the fence. And then I just have some flowers in my container garden here. And we're going to talk all about all of this later. I'm just giving you a quick overview. And once we dug out all of those Rose of Sharon and lilac bushes, my husband and I put this brick paver border here. Now, our weed whacker is currently not working at the moment, hence all the tall grass against the bricks. But as soon as we get that working, we will take care of that, or I should say he will. He's really good with doing all of that, although I do love weed whacking myself. And then I do have a few hanging baskets here and there. And then in this area of the garden, the whole way back here, into that corner, and in the back here, I am putting in perennials as much as possible, but leaving room to pop annuals in. And as you can see, it's quite shaded back here. I have these very, very tall trees, the pine trees there, and then this tree over here creates a lot of shade in the afternoon. They do get enough sun during the day. And let's go over here. This is going to be the project area. Underneath this blue tarp is gravel, which is left over from our patio project. We decided to put in a patio instead of a deck, making it level with the driveway that comes right into the garage. It just made more sense to do that. And then this is the problem area. Now, there was big giant mounds of dirt back here, also from that patio project. And as you can see, the weeds have taken over. My neighbor, when he found out I had all this extra dirt and gravel, he was like, "Can I have some?" I said, "Take as much as possible." And believe it or not, he took so much of it and actually leveled out the yard back here. But this is going to be a project for later, and as I get to it, I will definitely be filming that, and it'll definitely be an episode on the channel. Hostas are one of my favorite plants. They're easy to grow and divide and move around, and they come in so many different colors and variations. I just love them. This one over here is my newest addition. That was dug up from another garden and brought here. I'm making sure to water it a lot, let those roots get established, and when it comes back next year, it's going to look so good. This is ground cover here, and that is Creeping Jenny, and I wanted to get some of that into my garden so that in the springtime I can dig up parts of it and put it into my container garden and, you know, let it drape down over the container. So I thought I definitely want Creeping Jenny in my garden so that I don't have to keep buying it at the garden center. Here's another hosta that I have two of them, and they both bloom. They have these beautiful purple flowers on them, but they stay kind of little. I guess it's the kind or variation of hosta that keeps them kind of little, and I'm kind of liking that, especially where I put them. And here's some purple diathis. I just moved this from another part of the garden. See this Dusty Miller? I have them all over the place. They're supposed to be annuals, and I think most people pull them out at the end of the season. I don't. I let them winter. These are already a couple years old. I let them winter, and then I cut down. I leave all the dead parts on them all winter long, because I am in Michigan and we get a lot of really cold temperatures and snow and all that. And then in the springtime, I wait until I start to see growth on it. Then I cut off all the dead parts and they grow back. I have them throughout my perennial garden. You can see they make really great border plants. I also have an issue with this. So back in the back here, the previous owners had all this ground cover. This is almost impossible to get rid of. I have been pulling it out by hand, trying to keep up with it. Every time I see it, I pull it out. Obviously, I have a couple patches here I need to get to, and my goal is to just keep pulling it out and pulling it out and pulling it out, and hopefully at some point it'll just stop growing back here. I have some irises, different variations, different colors. These have yet to bloom because I planted them and it takes a few years for them to get established, and then they will start to bloom. I think this one's pretty healthy because it's multiplying, so I'm hoping to get a bloom next year, actually on both of them. There's another diathis. This is called Silver Mound. I just got those this year. Those will come back, and it's looking a little sparse right now, but I expect it'll come back in a nice mound next year. I have some cosmos that had bloomed, and I'm just letting that in the garden just for the green part. And I do know that they tend to grow all over the place and spread, and you have to be careful of them. I'm keeping an eye on where they're going. If they establish themselves somewhere where I don't want them, I'm just going to yank them out. Here's another iris getting ready to bloom. This is my baby hydrangea back here. It was so tiny. I got a really tiny one, and it didn't bloom last year and it didn't bloom this year. I'm hoping next year I'll get a bloom on that. Look how big that one got. Dusty Miller is always put out as an annual. They want people to buy it every year. I just don't buy into that sometimes. If you let things winter and don't yank them out by the roots, or you don't cut them down to nothing, they will come back. There's so many annuals that are actually perennials. Then I have my sedum back here, which I just love sedum. I'm going to be like spreading that around. I was letting a couple of my plants get more established, and then I will take off some of the branches and put them other places. Some more creeping Jenny in there. I do have some snapdragons. There were some in the back corner there, and I have some right here. I tried snapdragons last year and they didn't make it over the winter. So maybe it's too harsh of a climate here to have snapdragons. I'm not sure. I'm trying it again this year. If they don't come back, then I'm going to only use them in a container garden. For my front flower bed, I did the same thing with the brick border the whole way around, and it goes the whole way around the side of the house the whole way back. I'm gonna get to that in just a second. I have always wanted a rhododendron, but when I got to this house, this one was pretty sad, and it's still struggling. So I'm doing my best with it, and I will be doing more episodes of what I'm doing to help make this a healthier plant. Along the front here, I put in geraniums and snapdragons. Now my geraniums had all flowered at the same time, and then I had to deadhead them. And then of course I have to come in and take off like the leaves. Take these off because you don't want those on there either. And so I'm waiting for them to bloom again. So I'm not so happy with the geraniums like there. That's getting ready to bloom again. They're white ones, and then the snapdragons are yellow and a pink, but nothing's blooming. So I am not happy at all with my front flower bed. I have lots of ideas to change that. I did have a mini rose. He did bloom, but now he's done blooming. But it's looking pretty bare right now, and I am not happy at all with this. Now over here is a mum that I planted last fall. I also don't yank out my mums. I'm trying to create like a mum garden too in between my annuals and perennials and things like that. So this one came back. I'm not sure what color it is. We'll see when the fall comes. My next door neighbor gave me this little pot full of violets. And initially I had it in too much sun. Then I decided to move it to my front porch area where it gets a lot of shade. And just look at that. It's so pretty. This whole side of the house is another project that I just started working on. I have some irises here, and then I had the two of these overgrown evergreen bushes, and I just cut this one down to the stump. Gonna dig that out. There's some lily of the valley in here and a few other plants mixed in, but I cannot wait to transform this entire area. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.